My beloved child in the spirit, sit close, for tonight the air itself feels heavy with meaning. There are moments in a person's life when the veil between what we see and what we feel grows thin, so thin that even the quietest whisper can shake the heart. And as I look upon you, I sense such a moment resting upon your shoulders like a shadow and a light at the same time. There are seasons when memories begin to stir without permission. A scent passes by you, and suddenly you remember someone you lost. A familiar song plays from nowhere, and your chest tightens as if time rewinds. These things do not happen by accident. They rise for a purpose. They rise because love never truly dies. It only changes form. And sometimes, only sometimes, God allows those memories to move with such strength that it feels as though someone from beyond the river of time is trying to reach you. Do not be afraid of this feeling. It is not darkness knocking at your door. It is not the dead speaking in forbidden ways. No. What you feel is the echo of a love that God Himself once planted in your life. And when that love presses upon your heart with unusual force, it may be because there is something you must remember, something you must notice, something you must not ignore. Listen to me, child. Heaven has a rhythm, and the soul has ears to hear it. There are moments when the Spirit stirs old memories, not to haunt you, but to guide you. And I sense that someone you once cherished, a parent, a friend, a sibling, perhaps even a mentor, left behind a piece of wisdom you have forgotten. A word they once spoke, a lesson they once taught, a warning they once whispered. Tonight, that forgotten word is knocking again. This is why the message feels urgent. This is why the atmosphere feels stirred. Because the longer you wait, the softer that memory becomes. And the softer it becomes, the easier it is for the enemy to erase what heaven wants you to remember. So hear me. Before that sacred guidance fades, before the imprint of their love becomes lost beneath the noise of the world, before the wisdom God once delivered through them disappears into the wind, you must open your heart. Someone you loved is not calling you from a grave. They are calling you through memory, through conviction, through the Spirit stirring, urging you to pay attention before a divine reminder slips away forever. Come closer, my child. There is more you must hear. My dear child, come close again, and let your heart move gently with the rhythm of what I am about to share. For this part of the journey carries tenderness and holy mystery wrapped together like threads woven through your spirit. You have been feeling something, an unexpected emotion rising in your chest, a sudden memory brushing against your thoughts, a whisper of someone you loved returning to your mind with unusual strength. You may have wondered why this is happening, why someone who has already crossed into eternity feels so close, so present, so alive within your spirit. And now, child, I will help you understand what heaven is stirring inside you. When I say that a loved one who passed away is trying to warn you, I do not speak of the dead communicating from the grave. No voice rises from the dust. No spirit wanders the earth. But love, true, deep, God-planted love, never dies. And the wisdom, the prayers, the lessons, the memories that your loved one poured into you while they walked this earth do not disappear when their breath leaves their body. Instead, those things remain, live inside you, like seeds lying beneath the soil, waiting for the right moment to rise again. And when they rise, child, it is because heaven is trying to guide you, protect you, and awaken you. Perhaps, in these past days, you have felt an old memory rising unexpectedly. You may find yourself thinking about something your mother once said, or a piece of advice a father or grandparent once gave, or a warning a close friend whispered before their time on earth was finished. These memories do not come without purpose. Memories are one of heaven's gentlest messengers. When they appear with sudden clarity, it is because there is something unfolding in your life now that connects to the wisdom they left behind. Let me tell you a story, one that carries the weight of this truth. There was a young man in our assembly who had lost his mother years earlier. She was a woman of prayer, a woman who constantly shielded him with her faith. As he grew older, he began drifting into a group of friends who led him toward darkness. He felt the discomfort rising, but he pushed it aside. One evening, as he prepared to meet them, a memory of his mother's words came crashing into him with such power that he froze in his doorway. "My son," she used to say, "where your feet go, your future follows." It was as though the memory itself stood between him and danger. He turned around and stayed home. That very night, the group was arrested in a violent encounter. Had he ignored that memory, he would have been caught in the same destruction. His mother did not speak from beyond the grave, but the wisdom she planted rose up like a shield when he needed it most. Child, this is what I mean when I say a loved one is trying to warn you. It is their wisdom awakening inside you. It is their prayers carrying strength long after their voice has gone silent. It is their love shaking your spirit so you will pay attention to what is happening around you. And the reason you feel this so strongly now is because heaven knows you are facing a moment where the right choice matters deeply. There is something ahead of you, something you must either avoid or embrace, something you must step away from or step into. And the memory of that loved one is rising because heaven is trying to steer your feet before you walk into something that could harm you. You may feel an unexplained heaviness when you think about a certain direction. That heaviness is warning. You may feel sudden peace when you think about another path. That peace is guidance. You may have seen your loved one in a dream recently, not in fear, but in a way that made you wake up thoughtful, emotional, or aware. That dream is not them speaking. It is heaven using the memory of their love to reach the softest part of your spirit. Child, you are not imagining this. You are not confused. You are not unstable. You are being guided. The stirring inside you is heaven saying, pay attention. Slow down. Look closely. For the love that shaped you in life can still protect you long after death. The warnings they gave you then can still save you now. And the wisdom heaven awakened inside you today may be the very thing that prevents tomorrow's pain. So listen to what you feel. Honor the memory that rises. Let the love that once guided you continue to guide you now. For heaven is speaking through the echoes of those who once held your heart. And this message is reaching you precisely because you need it in this season of your life. My beloved child, let your spirit stay awake, for what we are entering now carries urgency, weight, and divine timing. There are moments in your journey when heaven itself leans in, when messages that were quiet suddenly grow loud, when something you have been ignoring begins to tap at the door of your soul, again and again, until you finally turn your head. This is one of those moments. And the message I bring you now bears the tone of an ancient messenger, one who appears in Scripture not with casual greetings, but with fire in his presence and divine urgency in his voice. When I say Michael says, "Open this immediately," I do not speak of a man standing before you, but of the symbol of urgency, the heavenly cry to pay attention now, not later, today, not tomorrow, in this moment, not when it becomes convenient. There is something in your life, some decision, some relationship, some path you are walking, some danger you cannot see, some blessing you might miss, that requires immediate attention. The spirit of delay has been pressing against you for far too long. Every time you try to move toward clarity, fear whispers that you should wait a little longer. Every time conviction rises within you, doubt tries to smother it. Every time discernment begins to speak, distraction pulls your eyes another way. But when heaven sends a message with the tone of Michael, it means the season of hesitation must end. Let me tell you a story, child. There was once a woman in the assembly who felt a strong inner warning about a business decision. She felt it while washing dishes, while lying down to sleep, while walking in the marketplace. But she told herself, "I will think about it later." Days passed, then weeks. The feeling grew heavier, but she brushed it aside. One morning she told me, "Father, it feels like something is pushing me to act, but I don't want to overthink it." That very evening she received a report. She had lost an opportunity that would have changed her life, and the path she eventually chose spiraled her into difficulties she later said she could have avoided if she had listened. Her tears were not of punishment, but of regret, for she realized that the voice she had ignored carried heaven's urgency. Child, do not make the same mistake. When heaven says, "Open this immediately," it is not to frighten you. It is to protect you. It is to position you. It is to awaken you before circumstances force you awake. You may feel unprepared. You may feel uncertain. You may feel like you need more clarity before you act. But sometimes clarity is waiting on the other side of obedience. Sometimes understanding comes after you say yes, not before. Perhaps heaven has been nudging you to leave a toxic environment, to return to prayer, to forgive someone, to take a step toward your calling, to walk away from a wrong influence, to change a habit, or to confront a truth you have been avoiding. Perhaps the message has been coming through dreams, through inner conviction, through signs that feel too specific to ignore. Or perhaps it has been coming through a sense of heaviness every time you move in the wrong direction. Whatever it is, child, you must not delay. You must not say tomorrow when heaven is saying now. Michael, the heavenly symbol of divine urgency, does not come with casual whispers. He comes with the weight of a message that cannot wait. And today that message is resting on you. Not to frighten you, but to help you avoid what could wound you. Not to overwhelm you, but to guide you into what is waiting for you. Not to pressure you, but to awaken you to the importance of this moment. Open your eyes. Open your spirit. Open your heart. Something is unfolding around you, and heaven does not want you to miss it. Do not let fear delay you. Do not let doubt drown you. Do not let distraction erase what you are meant to receive. Child, it is time. The gates of heaven are stirring. The message is here. The urgency is real. Open this before the moment passes. My child, let your heart grow still for a moment, for what we step into now carries the weight of time itself. There are messages heaven sends that remain available for seasons, and then there are messages that come only once, brief, bright, delicate, like dew on the morning grass. If you reach for them, they refresh you. If you hesitate, they vanish. When I speak the words, before it's erased forever, I speak of those divine windows that open for a short time and then shut, not out of cruelty, but out of the wisdom by which heaven governs life. There are warnings you are meant to hear now, not later. There are blessings you are meant to catch now, not someday. There are decisions you must tighten, paths you must step away from, commitments you must restore, peace you must pursue, before the moment slips into silence. The spiritual realm is rich with moments, but moments are not eternal. They pass. They shift. They move according to seasons. And child, you are standing in such a season right now. Let me tell you a story to help you understand. There was a man who carried a calling on his life, one that his grandmother had prayed over him since childhood. After she passed, he felt a pull to return to his purpose, to pick up the mantle she used to remind him of. But he kept saying, "One day I will. I'm not ready. Let me settle things first." And each year the voice grew softer. Each year the fire in his spirit dimmed a little more. One day he sat before me and said, "Father, I no longer feel that calling. I think it faded on its own." But child, callings do not fade on their own. They fade when we do not respond. That is what erasing looks like. Not a violent ripping away, not a sudden loss, but a gradual quieting, until what once burned becomes a faint memory. And you, beloved, have something heaven does not want you to lose. A warning, a reminder, a piece of wisdom rising like a tide. You feel it. You sense it. Something inside you whispers, "Pay attention, something is shifting, something is being shown to you." But if you keep pushing the feeling aside, if you treat it as coincidence, if you drown it beneath the noise of daily life, it will slowly fade. Think about the dreams you used to have, the vivid ones, the purposeful ones. Remember how some of them slipped away because you doubted yourself, or because you listened to voices that were not meant to shape your destiny. Remember how certain relationships fell apart because you ignored the red flags you were meant to see clearly. Remember how certain opportunities passed because you delayed, thinking the door would remain open forever. My child, doors do not stay open forever. Some close gently. Some close suddenly. Some close silently. But they all close eventually. And heaven is trying to keep you from losing something priceless. Maybe it is clarity. Maybe it is a warning that could save you from pain. Maybe it is a shift in direction that could change your future. Maybe it is a reminder from a loved one who taught you wisdom you have been forgetting. Or maybe it is the last nudge you will receive before a season changes. Whatever it is, child, do not let it be erased. Memories can fade. Convictions can weaken. Signs can stop appearing. And the spiritual push you feel right now will not last forever. When heaven stirs something urgently, it is because time is moving. Something is coming closer, or something is slipping farther away. Respond to the pull while you can still feel it. Listen while the whisper is still clear. Act while the way is still open. For what heaven is revealing to you is not meant to vanish into silence. But if you ignore it long enough, it will. Child, take this seriously. There are words that save you only if you listen now. There are warnings that protect you only if you obey now. There are opportunities that bless you only if you reach now. Do not let this be a race. Not this time. Not this message. Not this moment. My child, listen closely now, for what I am about to tell you is tender, sacred, and wrapped in mystery. There are moments in life when you feel a tug, not on your clothes, not on your body, but in the deepest chambers of your heart. You may be sitting alone, or walking quietly, or drifting into sleep, when suddenly you feel remembered, noticed call. It is not the voice of the dead speaking, no, but it is the echo of a love that once shaped your life, stirring again with purpose. When I say, a voice from the other side is calling your name, I speak of the way God sometimes uses memory, conscience, and spiritual stirring to reach you through the imprint of someone who cared deeply for you. A mother's teaching, a father's blessing, a grandparent's prayer, a friend's encouragement, a mentor's wisdom. These do not disappear when their bodies return to dust. These become seeds planted in the soil of your soul. And when the season is right, when the storm is approaching, when the crossroads appear before your feet, heaven shakes those seeds awake. They sprout again, pushing forward like sudden sunlight breaking into a dark place. Maybe you have felt it recently, a strange heaviness in your chest, a sudden wave of emotion, a memory that returned at the exact moment you needed guidance. Maybe you were about to make a decision, and their face flashed in your mind. Maybe you remembered their words just as you were about to step into something wrong. Maybe a dream of them made you pause and think, why now? Child, these are not random moments. They are alignments. They are reminders. They are the spiritual fingerprints of God pressing gently against your heart. Let me share a story with you. There was a young woman in the congregation who had lost her father years before. He was a man of truth, a man who always taught her, never betray your own spirit, even if the whole world tries to shape you. One day, she found herself in a place of temptation, one decision that seemed small but could change everything. As her hand reached toward the wrong choice, she suddenly remembered her father's voice, not audibly, but deeply. Stay true to who you are. She froze. Tears filled her eyes. She stepped away. Later she told me, "Father, it felt like he was calling my name at that very moment." No, child, he was not calling her from beyond the grave. But the wisdom he left behind rose up like a shield to protect her. Sometimes the voice you feel calling you is not a literal voice. It is conviction. Sometimes it is not a whisper. It is a stirring. Sometimes it is not a message. It is a memory. But make no mistake, child, it is real. When heaven touches the memory of someone you loved, it is because there is something you must awaken to. Something you must stop doing. Something you must return to. Something you must walk away from. Something you must embrace. Their love becomes a compass, guiding you gently but firmly toward what is right. You are not alone. You are not forgotten. And you are not wandering without guidance. The same God who watched over those you loved watches over you now. Their prayers did not die. Their love did not die. The lessons they gave you did not die. They continue working in your life, even now, calling your name through conviction, wisdom, and remembrance. And now, my dear child, let me speak to your spirit in a tender way. If this message is touching you, if you feel that something sacred is being stirred, if this voice from the other side feels like a pull back toward clarity, purpose, or protection, then let your heart respond. And as you respond, help others hear this same awakening. Share the message, lift it up, spread it forth. Let your hands move like a servant of light. Engage, support, and join the mission. For doing so is not just an act of kindness, it is a divine duty to carry light into another person's darkness. Now, child, breathe deeply. The next revelation is waiting. My dear child, let your heart soften as we step gently into this next revelation. For now we speak of something mysterious, something holy, something that exists not in the mind, but in the space between breath and spirit. There is a bridge, yes, a bridge, between the world you walk in and the world your loved ones have entered. Not a physical bridge, not a place you can touch with your hands, but a spiritual connection woven by God Himself. And when you feel the stirring of old memories, the sudden rise of forgotten wisdom, or the warm sense of someone watching over your journey, you are standing at the edge of that bridge. This bridge is not opened by rituals or strange practices. It is opened by love. It is strengthened by prayer. It is crossed through faith. Heaven touches earth, not through shadows or illusions, but through moments. Moments when God allows the echoes of love to reach across the unseen divide. A thought that enters at the right moment. A memory that rises with divine timing. A conviction that presses on your chest like a gentle but firm hand. These are not accidents. These are the footprints of heaven walking softly toward you. Imagine two worlds, one made of light, the other wrapped in time. One eternal, one temporary. One filled with the saints who have finished the race, the other filled with you and those still running. These two worlds do not exist in isolation. They touch. They overlap. They meet in places where the heart becomes quiet enough to feel what the eyes cannot see. When you pray with sincerity, when you reflect in silence, when grief softens into gratitude, when love rises from memory, that is when the bridge forms beneath your feet. Let me tell you a story, child. There was a man in the assembly who lost his older brother, his protector, his guide, his closest friend. The loss broke him in ways he could not hide. For months he walked with his head lowered, feeling as though the world had turned dim. One night, unable to sleep, he stepped outside and looked up at the sky. The stars were still. The air was cool. And suddenly, without warning, he felt the memory of something his brother used to tell him. You are stronger than you think. Don't forget who you are. The words did not come from the wind, nor from the sky, nor from a voice in the night. They came from within, from the bridge between the world of memory and the world of the living. In that moment he felt strength return to him. He straightened his back. He breathed deeply. He wept, not from pain, but from a strange and holy comfort. Not because his brother had spoken from death, but because the love that once built him rose up again to lift him. That is how the bridge works. It is not spooky. It is not dark. It is not forbidden. It is holy. It is gentle. It is God weaving the love of the past into the purpose of your present. Child, perhaps that bridge is forming for you right now. Perhaps you feel something pulling you toward healing, or warning you before destruction, or reminding you who you used to be before life wounded you. Sometimes the bridge opens because heaven wants to bring you peace. Sometimes because heaven wants to bring you clarity. Sometimes because heaven wants to stop you before you step into something harmful. And sometimes because heaven simply wants to remind you that you are still loved, deeply, fiercely, eternally. Do not fear this bridge. Walk across it with humility. Let the lessons of those who loved you travel into your heart again. Let the wisdom they carried flow back into your decisions. Let their prayers, though long completed, still shape your steps. Their legacy is a lamp. Their faith is a thread. Their love is a guiding hand. And child, believe me when I say this, heaven is not far. The ones you love are not lost. And you are being guided more than you know. My beloved child, as we walk deeper into this sacred journey, it is time to help your heart understand what has been rising within you. For the signs you are receiving are not scattered pieces of confusion. They are threads being woven by heaven with purpose and intention. You may not realize it yet, but the memories that return, the sudden emotions you feel, the dreams that linger in your spirit, and the unexpected moments of clarity are all part of a divine language. Heaven speaks in moments, not always in words. God whispers through timing, through remembrance, through gentle conviction, and through sudden peace that settles on you like warm light. And now, child, the Spirit is inviting you to interpret these signs so you will not walk blindly past the guidance meant to protect and strengthen you. Often you have felt something rise in your heart and wondered if it was your imagination. But imagination is scattered, while spiritual signals are persistent. If a thought returns multiple times, especially at moments when you are making choices or standing at a crossroads, that is not random. When the same memory shows up again and again, especially when connected to someone who loved you deeply, heaven is trying to draw your attention to something important. A message repeated is a message that must not be ignored. I once knew a young man who kept remembering his late father, not with sadness, but with unusual intensity. His father used to warn him about people who pretend to care, but secretly cause harm. For weeks the young man felt disconnected from a certain friend, but he ignored the feeling because he did not want to judge anyone. Yet every time he closed his eyes, he remembered his father's voice. One afternoon, the truth came out. This friend had betrayed him deeply. The memory of the father was not haunting him. It was protecting him. It was heaven stirring old wisdom to guard him from present danger. That is how signs work, child. They rise not to confuse you, but to shield you from what your eyes cannot yet see. Sometimes the sign comes as heaviness. You may feel something pulling at your spirit, a tightness in your chest, or an unrest that follows you like a shadow. This is not anxiety, it is warning. Heaven presses on your spirit when something around you is not aligned with your purpose or safety. Your soul recognizes danger long before your mind does. And when that discomfort refuses to leave, it is heaven saying, "Don't go there. Don't trust that. Don't step into this." At other times, the sign is peace. A deep calm settles in your heart when you think about a choice, a direction, or a person. Peace is not quietness. Peace is certainty. Peace is heaven's confirmation. When your mind may be confused, but your spirit feels still and rested, that is God guiding you. Peace is the spiritual yes that needs no explanation. You may also feel a strong pull towards something, an inner knowing that rises without warning. This is direction. Heaven guides you not by forcing your steps, but by gently drawing you toward the right path. Many times people ignore this pull because it does not come with full explanations. But God leads through feeling, long before He leads through clarity. The pull is not meant to make sense. It is meant to make movement. And child, there are moments when signs repeat with urgency. A thought circles back, a dream returns, a memory appears at the same hour for several days, or the same message reaches you through different places. When heaven repeats itself, it is because time is moving. The sign is urgent, and delay could make you miss what is being revealed. You may think you are imagining things, but your spirit is more awake than you know. What you call overthinking may actually be spiritual sensitivity. What you dismiss as coincidence may be divine alignment. Heaven is not trying to confuse you. Heaven is trying to reach you. The signs you feel are real, child. They are guiding you. They are protecting you. They are preparing you for what lies ahead. And now, as your understanding grows clearer, your steps will grow steadier, and your spirit will no longer question the gentle whisper of God rising within you. My dear child, as we move into this solemn portion of the journey, I ask you to listen with a tender and open spirit. For the truths you are about to hear are not meant to frighten you, but to awaken you. Heaven is merciful, but heaven is also purposeful. When God sends warnings, through conviction, through dreams, through sudden heaviness, through repeated memories, through the wisdom of a loved one echoing in your spirit, those warnings come because something in your path needs your attention. Ignoring such warnings is like walking through a field filled with hidden stones while refusing to watch where you step. You may feel safe for a while, but eventually you will stumble. Many times people imagine that ignoring a spiritual nudge simply means nothing will happen. They think, "I'll deal with it later," or "I'm probably just overthinking," or "it's not that serious." But child, the danger of ignoring a warning is not always immediate harm. The danger lies in the slow drifting of the soul. When you silence the voice inside you that is meant to guide you, you slowly lose your sensitivity to it. You stop recognizing what is right. You stop feeling what is wrong. Your sense of direction dulls like a blade left unused. Heaven does not punish you for ignoring the signs. Rather, you lose the protection those signs were meant to give. There was once a young woman in our assembly who felt a strong conviction not to continue in a certain relationship. She knew it deep within, Every time she prayed, her spirit felt uneasy. Every time she thought about the future, her heart tightened. But she convinced herself that she was being dramatic. She ignored the warnings. She told herself, "It will get better." But it did not. Months later she returned broken, not because God had abandoned her, but because she walked past the voice that was trying to save her. She said something that has remained with me ever since. "Father, I saw the signs, but I didn't want them to be true." Child, ignoring a warning does not change the truth. It only delays your preparation for facing it. Sometimes people ignore warnings because they hope the discomfort will disappear. But spiritual discomfort is not meant to vanish. It is meant to guide. If you feel unsettled in your spirit, it is because something in your environment, your decision, or your direction is misaligned. Ignoring that feeling is like ignoring the sound of a fire alarm, because you don't see flames yet. Flames come later. Alarms come early. Others ignore warnings because they think they have endless time. They believe the opportunity will always be there. The relationship will always recover. The door will always remain open. But child, time is one of God's greatest teachers and one of God's gentlest thieves. The window you ignore today may not wait for you tomorrow. Some blessings expire not because God removes them, but because the season that held them has passed. A warning ignored is often a blessing missed. Let me tell you another story. A man once felt a strong urge to reconnect with his sister after years of distance. It rose within him for weeks. Memories of their childhood, thoughts of forgiveness, a longing to reconcile. But pride held his heart hostage. He kept saying, "I'll call her soon," until soon became too late. When she passed unexpectedly, he was left with an ache that no words could heal. He told me, with tears streaming down his face, "Father, the warning was mercy and I ignored it." Child, warnings often come from mercy, not judgment. They come to heal what pride, fear, or distraction may destroy. And sometimes, ignoring the warnings leads to deeper confusion. Life begins to feel heavy. Decisions become foggy. Joy becomes distant. You may feel disconnected from your spiritual senses, not because heaven has stopped speaking, but because your heart is no longer listening. Warnings ignored become lessons learned in much harder ways. But hear me gently, my beloved one. This message is not to condemn you. It is to remind you that heaven is trying to protect you, even now. The warnings you are feeling are not punishments. They are shields. The signs you are receiving are not burdens. They are lifelines. The memories rising in your heart are not accidents. They are guides. If you have ignored warnings before, heaven has not given up on you. The fact that you are hearing this message shows that the Spirit is still reaching for you. There is still time. There is still hope. There is still a path back into clarity. Open your heart. Do not turn away this time. Recognize the signs before the cost of ignoring them becomes too great. My beloved child, now that you have seen the weight of ignoring the signs, it is time to step forward, out of the shadows of confusion and into the warm, gentle light of understanding. For heaven never reveals warnings merely to frighten you. Heaven reveals them to guide you into a clearer, safer, brighter path. You were never meant to walk in darkness. You were never meant to stumble without direction. You were never meant to wander with an aching spirit, uncertain of what your heart is trying to tell you. No, child, you were created to walk with understanding, to move with clarity, and to see with the eyes of the soul. Understanding does not always come suddenly. Sometimes it rises softly, like dawn spreading across the horizon. Sometimes it comes through pain, when life squeezes the truth out of you. Sometimes it arrives through remembrance, when the voice of a loved one echoes through your spirit and brings you back to yourself. And sometimes understanding comes through surrender, through finally deciding to stop fighting what God has been trying to show you. For when the heart surrenders, the mind becomes clear. Child, stepping into understanding begins with accepting that the signs you are receiving are real, that the stirring you feel is not imagination, that the memories returning to you are not meaningless, that the dreams, the convictions, the repeated thoughts, the sudden sense of caution or peace, these are all pieces of a message heaven is assembling before your eyes. And once your heart admits that these signs carry purpose, your spirit becomes ready to receive the truth they bring. There was once a man who wandered for years without peace. He felt warnings inside him, but he resisted them. He felt direction rising, but he doubted it. His soul was loud, but his mind refused to listen. One day he came to me and said, "Father, I feel like I'm walking in circles." I told him, "You are walking in circles because you keep passing the signs meant to redirect you." The moment he decided to listen, truly listen, understanding flooded him like a river. The confusion broke. The heaviness lifted. The path illuminated. His life did not change because circumstances shifted. His life changed because he finally stepped into the light of understanding. And child, the same is waiting for you. Understanding begins when you stop running from the truth and start embracing it. It grows when you recognize that the guidance coming through your heart is not accidental. It is intentional. It deepens when you accept that heaven is speaking to you with love, not harshness. It blossoms when you begin to honor the wisdom of those who loved you in life and still influence you through the memories. God awakens at the right time. Stepping into understanding also means recognizing that the stirring you feel is a sign of calling. There is something heaven is preparing you for. Something you must walk toward. Something you must correct. Something you must repair. Something you must let go of. Something you must embrace. And as you allow the signs to settle into your spirit, clarity begins to replace confusion. Confidence begins to dissolve fear. Peace begins to break the fog that once clouded your sight. My child, do not underestimate what is happening in your heart right now. This is not merely emotion. This is awakening. This is alignment. This is God removing the veil so that you may finally see what has been standing before you all this time. You are being shown truth that will shape your next steps. You are being given insight that many pray to receive. You are being drawn into a deeper awareness so that you will no longer walk blindly through seasons that require spiritual eyes. The light you are stepping into is not harsh, it is gentle. It does not expose you to shame, it frees you from confusion. It does not judge you. It guides you. It does not overwhelm you. It steadies you. It is the light of understanding, the light of purpose, the light of divine wisdom touching the deepest parts of you. Walk forward, child. Do not step back into uncertainty. Allow heaven's message to settle in your heart. Let understanding lead your next choice, your next movement, your next prayer. For once your spirit has tasted clarity, you will never again feel comfortable in confusion. You are entering a new place now, a place where the signs make sense, where the whispers become guidance, and where the wisdom of those who loved you becomes a lamp for your next step. And now, my child, prepare your heart, for the final revelation is coming. My beloved child, as we arrive at this final moment of our journey together, let your spirit grow calm and your heart unfold like a flower touched by morning light. For this ending is not an ending at all. It is a sacred sealing, a gentle covering over everything heaven has stirred inside you. You have walked through memories, warnings, understanding, awakening, and the quiet whispers of love that crossed the boundaries of time. And now heaven desires to settle peace upon you in a way that reaches the deep places words rarely touch. Come close, closer still, for I speak to you, now not with the voice of a storyteller, but with the tenderness of a spiritual father who sees a holy glow rising around your life. You have walked through storms that left their marks on your heart. You have carried questions that felt heavier than your own strength. You have faced nights of silence where you wondered if anyone truly saw your pain. And yet, here you stand, still breathing, still searching, still sensitive to the voice of heaven. That alone is a miracle. That alone is proof that divine hands have been holding you long before you ever recognized their touch. Child, the love of those you lost did not vanish when their bodies grew still. It transformed into wisdom, into memory, into quiet guidance. It sank into your soul like seed waiting for the right season to rise. And heaven, in infinite mercy, has stirred those seeds again, not to bring sorrow, but to awaken clarity. Not to remind you of loss, but to remind you that love never truly dies. Not to pull you backward, but to guide your steps forward. You have felt the stirring deep inside you, that gentle tug that comes without warning, an unseen pull toward peace or caution, a memory that rises with divine timing, a whisper that brushes your heart as though someone beyond this world is reminding you to stay awake. And yes, child, it is real. Heaven has been calling you into deeper awareness. Heaven has been aligning you. Heaven has been preparing you for what lies ahead. There is nothing random about what you have been sensing. The timing is deliberate. The stirring is intentional. The awakening is divine. Now let your heart receive what heaven is releasing in this very moment. Peace. Peace for the wounds you collected along the journey. Peace for the choices that left you trembling inside. Peace for the silent regrets you tucked away in the corners of your heart. Peace for the confusion that haunted you. Peace for the chapters you wish you could rewrite. Peace for the future you once feared. Let this peace sink into you like warm oil, settling in every anxious place, loosening the grip of every old worry, softening the tightness of every unspoken hurt. This peace is not the world's peace. It is heaven's peace. It is gentle. It is steady. It is yours. Understand this, child. The signs you received throughout this message were never meant to frighten you. They were meant to protect you. They were meant to lift you out of the fog that was clouding your path. They were meant to remind you that divine love watches over you in ways you cannot always see. You are not wandering blindly. You are not navigating your life alone. Heaven has been with you, surrounding you, guiding you, whispering to you through wisdom, memory, conviction, and love. And the moment you opened your heart to receive these truths, a shift began, subtle but powerful, a shift that will continue. And now, before this message is sealed, I must speak gently to your spirit. If this journey has touched you, if you have felt warmth rising in your heart, clarity entering your mind, or peace settling into your soul, then do not keep this experience hidden. Spread it like a lantern in the night. Share it with the world, not as an act of routine, but as a holy offering, as a divine duty. For someone else's spirit may be trembling in the same darkness you escaped. Someone else may be waiting for the very message that awakened you today. When you share, when you lift this message, when you support this light, you become a vessel heaven can use to touch another life. Now breathe, child. Lift your eyes for a moment. Let your heart open wide. I speak blessing over you now, a blessing of strength for the days to come, discernment for every choice before you, comfort for every tender place in your soul, and divine protection over your entire journey. May the peace of God cloak you like a warm mantle. May the wisdom of those who loved you continue to steady your steps. May heaven's guidance never grow faint in your ears. And may your spirit walk forward with confidence, clarity, and courage. Walk now in the full light of understanding. Walk now with heaven's blessing resting upon you. Walk now knowing you are loved, guided, seen, and held. Amen.